I'm not seeing anything else.
All right, hey!
Hi, Greg. Where were you? Where were you just now?
I just
don't
took
know.
a walk.
All right, the Penn State Blitz here on Penn Live, midway through August. A lot to get to. First of all, Greg, the news of the day.
Yes.
Penn State is going to be without two players permanently for medical issues. Ryan Buchholz in line to start at defensive end. He started last year after Torrance Brown got hurt. And then Jordan Minor, the true freshman defensive back, also, his career is done. James Franklin was asked frequently about that. What's your take on what he had to say?
Yeah, he was asked probably I would say half the questions of a 12-minute news conference on this topic. I mean, they never reveal much. Both players have revealed their injuries, though. Buchholz, ongoing back issues dating back to high school. Jordan Minor, they found a heart issue that's going to make him put football aside, similar to Nana Asidu. And then that makes 4 for the offseason with Jake Zembic and his ongoing shoulder and foot injuries causing him to give up football as well. So James Franklin said he's never been a part of anything like this, Bob. He called it a strange year, and I think that that's obviously true. You see what goes on. You know, there's a lot of things that these kids obviously hope to accomplish during their Penn State career, but at the end of the day, they're here to get an education and play football safely, and then when they can no longer do that, that's when you see them get the game up. So it's a tough blow, obviously, and it's disappointing for the kids. Obviously, Penn State can overcome Minor at this point because it has big cornerback depth.
Yeah.
Defensive end, I know he says he likes the guys they have. They have a lot of guys, but now they're at an inexperienced spot. The defensive line is even more so now.
Yeah, 2 things to note about those injuries. I believe my understanding is those 2 will be put on medical scholarships.
Yes.
And they are different from the scholarships they were on while they were playing.
Right.
James doesn't know how many they have, but they've had to give at least 4 in the last couple of months. Medical scholarships for all those players. And the other thing was James was not, he kind of knew Ryan Buchholz was coming. He talked about he was not thrown by this. I think there's a reason why maybe Ryan was a little bit lighter in the spring, and I think that they were fully prepared that maybe Ryan was not going to be able to continue. The other reason I wanted to bring that up, he seemed pretty set at the defensive end group, and we keep hearing the name Yetur Gross-Matos, who's now a second-year player, did not redshirt last year. Just talking to Sharif Miller and listening to James Franklin talk, you talked to Matt Limegrover, they feel like he's ready to go. He's ready to go right now and maybe start.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at everything he's done since he got to Penn State, he's bigger. He is much bigger than he was when he left Virginia High School as a 4-star defensive end. So I think that ultimately, Bob, they were prepping him for some time now to be a potential starter. And I don't think they thought it would come so soon. Obviously, they knew that Buchholz might be limited in ways this season before, of course, today where he's done for good. So, but they were always prepping him to start. And I think that's really the takeaway here. When you got a guy like him on campus, you could just look at him and knew he was going to fill out, and he certainly has. Matt Limegrover was effusive in his praise of him, and he just...
What was that word? Effusive?
Yeah, that's right,
Okay.
yes. He couldn't say enough good things about Yetur Gross-Matos. And you always wonder, because if he's having such a good camp, that means the tackles aren't doing as well.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think that Penn State feels pretty good about both sides of the ball, end tackle. They got to figure out right tackle, but that's where we stand.
Now, we have a lot of news about the linebackers, especially some news about Manny Bowen. But before, you talked about Matt Limegrover. It seems pretty clear that the Penn State coaching staff really likes Rasheed Walker, the true freshman tackle. Got here to practice in August. When I talked to Matt, he talked about his light feet, and he feels like he's got a huge future.
Yeah, no question, Bob. I mean, this is a guy that a lot of people have pegged as a future pro at some point in time, and I think that unlike some of the guys that Penn State's brought in with that kind of label, this guy certainly has that future in mind. You know, when you listen to Limegrover talk about him, you can't say enough good things about both him and Drew Scruggs. So I thought it was notable that, you know, Matt Limegrover didn't say this, but he almost sounded excited that 2 of their best offensive linemen will actually get to sit and develop and not be either forced to play due to injuries or the Michael Menet situation where everyone just keeps saying, where is he, where is he, where is he? Speaking of, they said that Menet in times in camp has had a few snapping problems.
Yeah.
I don't foresee that switch being made again.
Permanent.
He's at center McGovern's at guard. I'll be stunned if that gets changed.
Okay, now about Manny Bowen, reinstated right at the start of camp. He will not start the opener against Appalachian State. James Franklin confirmed that somewhat reluctantly. I don't think he really wanted to say that. He's probably have to go tell Manny right now as we talk about this. But Manny's part of their 6. I think he mentioned 6 linebackers that he really likes. 2 of them true freshmen.
Right.
What did you make? What do you have to say about the linebacker group?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, to use the words he used back on August 4th during the media day to kick off camp, they're young, but they're talented, but they're inexperienced, and that applies to Jesse Luketa, that applies to Micah Parsons, 2 of the 6 that he mentioned. Cam Brown you can put into that category. Then you have a couple older guys, Koa Farmer, Jan Johnson, that have been around for a long time. They're the experience, and I think that you'll see both of those guys play, but to me, Penn State's probably going to be at its best, not in week 1, but when it has Bowen on the field, when it has Farmer or Brown on the field. Cam Brown's the other one to mention, and when it has one of Parsons or Luketa. I think one of those guys, and perhaps both of them, Bob, are going to have huge seasons for Penn State this fall. You just keep hearing too many good things about the freak athleticism that they have to keep off the field.
And he did mention Jarvis Miller, and he did mention Ellis Brooks, but that was kind of after the fact. So the way it stands now, halfway through camp, if you had to name Penn State's 6 linebackers, let's go with the 2 freshmen, Micah Parsons, Jesse Luketa, Koa Farmer, Cam Brown, Manny Bowen, and Jan Johnson, one of our friend Ross Tucker's favorites. They look like, and that kind of tells me that Jan Johnson's going to start the match.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case as well. We'll see how long it lasts. Of course, someone could outplay him down the road. I'm still not giving up hope on Manny Bowen at 238 playing inside. You don't agree with me on that.
I do not.
But we'll see how it all plays out. But it has the chance to be the most talented, not maybe the best, but the most talented group of starting linebackers they've had since Franklin got here. They've had some really good guys come through, maybe not at all 3 spots healthy at the same time. This could be the year they actually have that.
All right, that's it for this edition of the Penn State Blitz here on Penn Live, as we just watch Penn State go through practice in the middle of August. Heard from James Franklin, a couple other players. We'll have much more on this later in the week.